So today, Ben, I spoke to a very interesting artiste, but you weren't there.
I wasn't there, no.
No, why weren't you there?
Because I've got a real job.
Yeah, you've got a real life.
A real life.
So weird. I don't know how that works.
Yeah.
So yeah, Ben unfortunately missed this interview because he has a real life and couldn't make it through to Edinburgh. But I don't have a real life. This is all I do. So I've been here all day. I've been here all month. But yes, I spoke to this incredible artist. I've been a fan of this guy for a few years, ever since I first saw him on the Free Fringe years ago. The performer is Dandy Darkly. Now, you know nothing about Dandy Darkly.
I know nothing about Dandy Darkly.
But you have a photo on your iPhone, which you should have a look at.
I am looking at it as we speak, and it's not what I thought.
Not what you thought?
No, not at all.
Dandy Darkly has a very specific look. How would you describe Dandy Darkly's look?
Oh, well, he's dapper. It's very I don't know, like something out of Alice in Wonderland or something.
That's probably a good explanation. Dandy Darkly is considered to be the king of Halloween in New York.
Okay, yeah. I can see that.
He's a satirist storyteller.
Right.
He tells these wonderful long form spoken word pieces that are almost like poetry, and he creates these wonderfully dark and twisted tales about the most bizarre and also the most mundane things, but he makes them sound so wickedly delicious. He is an incredibly animated performer in the way that he moves his face and his arms. He's just delightful, and we're very lucky that I have a short snippet of it, so I'm going to play that right now.
Apollo graced the eastern horizon. Peach and apricot splendor sparkled against an expansive stretch of virgin snow. A dark dimple marred that otherwise pristine polar plain, like some banal beauty mark slapped against an old queen's powdered cheek. The dark mark was a cavern, a sinister crevasse whose jagged stalactites hung like fangs, threatening to devour any damned soul vexed to venture within. Yet from that hell's mouth emerged a solitary silhouette. A girl, shockingly skinny, seemingly no older than 16. She shivered like a shadow puppet, twig-stick legs and jutting hip bones, alabaster arms blotted with blue-green bruises. This waif wore nothing more than a beaded black cocktail dress, expensively embroidered with ornate spiders and scarlet roses, red as her bloodshot eyes, crusted round with morning after mascara. And in her hand perched an iPhone, encased inside resplendent rubies and broken baby's teeth. That fucking sun stung like a cat o' nine tails, blazing brighter the higher it climbed. She fished for her sunglasses, fumbling her iPhone, where it shattered into a cackling murder of crows that flapped frantically back to the cruel cavern from which this maiden had emerged only a few moments earlier for her wintertime walk of shame.
So what do you make of that?
It was interesting,
isn't it?
Yeah, it was great.
It's fantastic, and he's so fascinating in his performance style, and yeah, I've got an interview with him.
Well, that's exciting.
So do you want to hear that?
Yes, I would very much.
Let's all listen to that then.
Okay.
So here I am. I'm very excited to be with this spectacular Dandy Darkly.
Hello, everyone.
How are you?
I am sweaty and exhausted and high on Red Bull. How are you?
I'm very well because I just enjoyed your show.
Thank you.
Which was fantastic.
Dandy Darkly's Myth Mouth.
Dandy Darkly's Myth Mouth at CC Blooms.
That's the beautiful CC Blooms.
I am less sweaty, but I'm not as extravagantly dressed.
Yeah, this old thing. Just rolled out of bed, threw this on. You know.
So, as ever, what I'd first like to ask you is the opportunity to explain to Ben, who knows nothing of the work you do, what is Dandy Darkly's Myth Mouth?
Well, Ben, I am a cabaret storyteller. I write all my work, I perform it, I do sound production with my 3 incredible musicians who I've collaborated with going all the way back to 2013 with my first show, Gory Hole, here. And I create beautiful, haunting, sleazy, poetic ghost stories that are typically satiric in nature, but also tend to have a lot of humanity behind them. And then we set them to music, and I perform these stories for an audience of more and more people every year. You know.
What I love about what you do is that you do have these fantastic soundtracks that your storytelling syncs with in such a. It seems effortless to watch it. It seems like.
That's the kindest thing anyone's ever said to me.
But the soundtracks are phenomenal because so much spoken word storytelling that you see doesn't have any sort of a soundtrack.
Yes.
Because I think many storytellers would feel that was limiting. But it very much adds something to what you do.
Well, as a cabaret storyteller, I think it certainly helps to heighten the experience. Also peppered in there are sound effects, all sorts of different things to help create a wonderfully immersive experience for an audience. I strive to create a visual wonderland with my words that you simply can't create even just showing a slide or creating a video, and the music helps immensely. It's funny because typically in the spring, when I'm gearing up for another Fringe, this is my 4th in a row with another brand new show. I am a glutton for punishment. In the spring, when I'm gearing up for a new show, I will have my stories mostly written. I'll have my stories ready, and then I'll, with all of the builds and pacings and rhythmic shifts and very quiet parts and very bombastic parts, and then I'll give these to the musicians. We'll get together, we'll improv and jam out some backing tracks for it, with all manner of there's classical. Adam Tindler is a classical pianist. Rachel Blumberg is a incredible rock percussionist. My dear husband, Bryce Edwards, Mrs. Dartley, he is a bassist and a guitar player, and we'll create this soundtrack. And one of the most rewarding things that I've discovered over the years doing this is how originally my first concept of what the spoken story is informs the music that they create, but then the music that's there, that's the skeleton, ends up informing the final story in the most unexpected ways. And it's really rewarding to have that, and it's also a bit of a safety net, I have to say.
That keeps you in.
It is. Well, I call it falling off the train. If suddenly I'm like, whoa, I'm a little bit behind. Let's get back on the train. All right, there we are. Now we're going, and it's effortless, everyone.
That's incredible. Well, I don't want to talk too much about the actual content of your show.
Yes.
Because I think that's something that should be discovered by people who come and see it. But your shows they always have these seemingly very disparate stories that you tie up in really intriguing ways. And sometimes you don't tie up in at all ways whatsoever.
Yeah.
This show I think it has a lovely denouement at the end. It's incredibly beautiful.
I've grown so much as a writer and a performer over my 4 years of performing Dandy Darkly in earnest. Doing my stories for audiences in New York and London and here in Edinburgh, and I'm so proud of this show. I'm proud of this show in a way that I've never felt for another work that I've done. Like it just the show is very much the most autobiographical work I've ever created without ever saying the word I. You know, it's not once do I refer to myself, but this is certainly just from some of my past struggles and my own stresses of, you know, creating a new show as an artist, looking to those artists who are inspirations. And yeah, it's quite a lovely show. You know, this year I was very, very moved by some high-profile celebrity deaths that we've had, and that was one of the major thrusts for creating the Myth Mouth. And from that, I kind of looked. I wanted to examine mythology, look at the antiquity, and look at how information is shared from the antiquity to the golden age of science up to our modern day worship of social media. You know, because whoever controls the information becomes the modern day god, so to speak. You know, and along the way, poke a little fun at our organized religion and other things of that nature.
Our pointless obsession with celebrity.
Yeah. I think this is probably the most good-natured show that I've done. You know, I sometimes swing back and forth between my dual namesakes of Dandy and Darkly. I know for last year's Trigger Happy, which had a decided focus on gun violence in the U.S., emotional triggering, playing those two ideas of physical violence versus emotional violence. That was decidedly a darker show.
Yes, there was a great deal of grotesque imagery.
Yes,
Happy,
very much.
Which isn't in this show. This show's very playful in places.
It's quite a playful show, and I think it's a lovely. There are certainly some serious moments.
Yes.
I think. But yes, it is quite a playful show, you know.
Yeah. One thing I love about your work, the very first time I ever saw you, I think it took me about 2 or 3 minutes to hone in on what you were doing.
Good.
It just took me a few moments to find the rhythm and sort of match my psyche to what was going on.
Well, good for you. I don't wait for the audience. You know what I mean? Like I keep, you know, let's do this.
Yes,
people.
You don't
know,
ease them in. You come on stage and you've got your stories to tell, and the audience are expected to come along. And I love the way, having seen you a few times now, the way that the audiences laugh, they react, they gasp at different times. Everyone is experiencing something a little bit different. I think people perhaps tune into you the way that people tune into songs, where everyone takes something a little bit different.
Yeah, and I think that is certainly a side effect of just the fact that it is a spoken word piece set to music. You know, some of it does get... The music it's not quite as a musical composition. It is much... the musical portions are very much just sort of a background... aesthetic that, you know, is there to support the thing, but no, absolutely. I can't. One of the greatest things of this hardship of performing for the month of August is the fact that there will be reactions. That one day there will just be a reaction to something that never got a laugh, or never got a gasp, or never had a little tear, and it's like, note to self. I wonder what was heard there, you know, and I love those little moments.
So you're a bit of a legend on sort of the New York scene. You know, well, that's what Wikipedia tells me.
Oh.
And you've become very, very established in that sort of the sort of wonderful queer cabaret scene with what you do.
Yeah.
How do you find coming to the UK where we definitely don't have the same sort of scene?
You know, I've been very lucky. I've scraped tooth and nail to burrow out my little space in New York. It's a very competitive scene. Where artists are very, it's been my experience, artists are very protective of their spaces there, and I'm sure I think that's sort of a general rule of thumb, I think, across the cabaret scene. One of the things I love, though, about the Fringe is really how supportive artists are of one another here, you know? People attend other people's work. I mean, I go to other work because it helps inform my own self, not just in terms of what's being presented, but in terms of the space that it's being presented in, or the emotion behind it, the honesty behind it. You know, those things are wonderful things to witness, and you don't have access to this any other place in the world. I've done some other Fringe festivals, and typically it's 3, 4, 5 performances, and you're out of there. You know, here you're really in the trenches.
Yes.
You know, you're foolish not to take advantage of seeing other people's work, because and also it's just a wonderful way to support your fellow artists, because we're all here trying to do the same thing, you know, and trying to express our honest self, and I say kudos to anyone who wants to come and undertake this. It's sometimes it's a very thankless undertaking, you know, when you're freezing cold, getting rained on in your tiny hat, you know, teetering in your big, giant, beautifully rhinestoned heels. And it can be very thankless. And then you have a wonderful house, very supportive and very attentive, like tonight. And it just, it makes... I often call theater the art of waiting. You know, it's like, all right. Waiting, and then showtime, and then, all right.
Yes.
Next time tomorrow, everyone, you know, and so the downtime needs to be spent enjoying the work of your peers,
yes.
You know. I don't know if that's necessarily the case in New York, you know.
I can agree. I don't really, for someone who works in cabaret, I only know very little about the cabaret scene in New York. I tend to spend more time around the comedy scene in New York, which is very much like that.
No, of course.
And indeed, everyone's working to make it there. And yet, although it's the same in Edinburgh, I find for people, it's a lot about the art in Edinburgh. A lot of people are here because they want to be, rather than they feel they need to be.
Yeah.
You're now in your fourth.
My fourth year here, grizzled old queen. What is she doing?
Which now makes you a Fringe legend.
Oh, yes.
Because 4 years here.
What is she thinking?
Why do you keep coming back to Edinburgh? What does Edinburgh mean to you?
Fear of missing out, really. No. I'm protecting my space. Didn't I just cover this? No. Oh, it is just, well, I get to get out of disgusting New York for August. I think my husband swam to work through the atmosphere. He just swam through the humidity today. No, it's just, like I said, it's just such a sense of community and just such a sense of excitement and buzz on the streets, and agita, also the agita, and I think there's a reviewer was in 2 days ago and still nothing has dropped. So even just that guillotine blade hiding in the clouds up there, I just know it's like ready to.
Oh, it's hard.
It's hard. It's hard. Like willing my Google alerts to fire. It's like come on.
You don't know if it's taking a long time. Is it good or a bad thing?
I know exactly. But that's just part of the ridiculousness of being a performer.
Well, you're not a man who's short of stars at the Fringe, really, are you? Your poster is covered in little gold stars.
Oh, God. I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing. It's like I have no other way to sell my show. I'm a crazy-looking clown with an esoteric kind of title, and I'm like, well, at least if maybe they'll see that, they'll give it a chance.
Are the way they make us for ourselves.
But I have to say, people who do give my work a chance, I blow them away, and I'm so proud of that. The biggest compliment I can get is when people come up to me after a show and they're like, Dandy, I had no idea that's what it is. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Because I take immense pride in what I do. What I do is not easy. It's a form of showmanship. It's a form of cabaret theater that is not practiced as much anymore. You know, the showman, the grand old tradition of Southern storytelling, which I was obsessed with since a kid. I may have mentioned before, I have 8-track cassettes of me at 5 years old telling ghost stories, you know, and my grandfather instilled in me such a love of storytelling and the ability just to pull people, you know, out of their daily world and into the ether,
Yes.
you know, the power of language. You know, it's a beautiful thing, and I work very hard to. I take it very seriously what I do, but also it's absolutely whimsical as well.
Yes.
You know, I don't know. I'm just pontificating. my butt has replaced my mouth now, and I'm just absolutely talking.
It's always tough when someone stands you there and says, "Just tell me how great
Just
you
tell
are."
me. I know. I'm like I said.
Well,
Oh, around the other way, madam. Down the stairs.
Well, I just came from
oh,
there.
through that door.
This door.
Yes.
Thank you.
That's the wonder of the fringe.
That's the wonder of the fringe. We have here at CC Blooms, we make sure people get to where they need to go.
So if people are coming tomorrow, what time and where are they coming to see your show?
Yes, Dandy Darkley's Myth Mouth plays nightly at CC Blooms, venue 171. It's at 6:45 p.m. That's until August 28th, not the 17th, because I need to have one night where I don't pile my face up with glitter.
Well, Dandy, it used to be said, and I think it still is said, that the best place by the fire is usually kept for the storyteller.
Oh.
And you would absolutely deserve it. I love what you do.
Oh, thank you so much, Rufus. I really, really appreciate it.
That was great.
That was good, wasn't it?
Yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed that.
Wasn't that good? That was really interesting. I just think he's fascinating, and he's got lots to say. So that's the end of another Not So Secret Society podcast. If you've enjoyed this, please share it. Let people know that it exists. Absolutely, if you have something to say or an opinion on anything that we've said, stick it in the comments below. We do read all the comments, and we may even respond in kind. Yeah, you happy, Ben?
I'm happy.
Anything more to say?
I think I see Biff the Magic Dragon at the front window.
We should go say hi.
I know, it's just the Chihuahua. Sorry.
That's just the Chihuahua being walked.
It's being walked. Sorry, got distracted there. What did you ask me? Anything else you want to add? No, I'm fine. Thanks for listening. Bye-bye.
Bye.